People are always trying to eradicate their pain, right? They're always trying to get to a life where they have no pain. Look around you. Every single person on this planet has pain. So what are you going to do with it? That's the question. What are you going to do with the pain that you have been given? Because that's where artistry comes in. That's where creation comes in. Because everything that we've experienced comes through some sort of pain.
This is Awakened Love, the podcast, and I'm your host, Angel. This is a space where we get real about sex, love, and awakening. So strap in, let's go deep. What's up, beautiful awakened beings? Welcome to another episode of Awakened Love, and I have with me back again my bestie, Rachel Pringle, in the house. We just can't get enough of you. I can't quit you.
We can't quit each other.
So Rachel and I decided to get tattoos in Ibiza recently. Rachel just moved to Ibiza. Do you want to tell them about our tattoos and what we've been learning through that ceremony?
Holy Moses. Well, I think it's been like it's definitely been over a year since we've been talking about this. And I think that both for you and I, tattoos are like a very significant part of, it's almost like you need to remember this moment in time. And so we got to put it on our body. And we've been talking about it for months and months. And just the configuration of how it happened and the sequence of the days and the ceremony that it led us into. We both got EROS and we both got serve. And it's kind of undescribable, but we both love words. And so we're going to do our best to use them and like really describe the undescribable. And I think that the big impetus for this work for both you and I is like, how do we make this crazy experience beautiful? Because it's so wild.
Oof, I want to slow down with that. Yes. How do we make this crazy ass life experience beautiful? And how do we restore beauty to its sacred place on the altar, beside truth, beside love, beside soulfulness? I think beauty has been stripped of its true place on the altar of the sacred, and we have this like cheap cheeseburger version of beauty. So, I love that. How do we make this crazy ass life beautiful? Say more.
Yeah, I think that's it. And the other word that comes to my mind too is like liberation, because I think that beauty has become so like tainted and convoluted, and society has got us wrapped up in this idea of perfectionism, which is such a falsity, right? It's such an illusion. All of us are like, not all of us, but so many of us are running in this rat race to get to this place that doesn't exist. We're trying these outside things in order to achieve this thing that when we get, we're actually super disappointed. And so it's really like, it's really beautiful, first of all, that we get to do this work together. And I know we say this every time, but it just never gets old. And I think the thing that's been so remarkable for both you and I as artists is how do we like transmute the pain that we've experienced into beautiful service, right? So that someone else who's in pain, because we're all in pain, can perhaps take something that we've created or written or sang or whatever it may be, expressed or taught, and feel some sense of not alone, or, oh, this could help me too. And I think that the musing on that is just like, it really hit, Angel and I were in like a rapid fire dialogue yesterday of like fits of laughter and profundity and hysterical tears of, I think, that awareness that like, that's our purpose here, is to help people, relieve pain. Yeah, exactly. Through service.
You're a soul, not just a body. Yes.
Boom.
Yes. Yeah. And it's funny, we think about like perfectionism is all about restriction. And what we're talking about is all about liberating that restriction, all the psychic energy it takes to hold control in place that could be being used to make art, to create beauty. It's like all this control that we're stuck in this state of control when we're socialized, particularly as women, to aim for this state of perfection, to be stuck striving for some outcome that never comes, versus making love to the process of living itself, making art for the sake of making art itself, evolving for the sake of the process itself. Now we're in the realm of the soul. Like, that's spiritual. The soul didn't come to achieve some outcome, to get the guy, the job, whatever. The soul doesn't care. The soul cares about who you will become on the journey to get those things. And so this, like, how much more can we lean into this process of becoming, and this remembering that we're a soul. We're not just a body to be entered. We are a state of consciousness to be experienced. And like, what do we create as art? Not just like necessarily the song or the piece of art, but like, how does our life become art? How does our words become art? In every moment, can we create? And essentially, I think what we're here to do is, as much as possible, elevate our consciousness to a state where we are also our creator being. Like, that which we've come from. We come from God, we return to God. That oneness, if that's a better word for people, is creative inherently. And we are creative. And when we're missing that through perfectionism and confining and constricting and controlling, that's the opposite of creating. And like, I think the path that we're devoted to is this path of liberating all the psychic energy that it takes to hold that control in place, coming into deep present contact with what's here. Sometimes it's beautiful, sometimes it's ugly, sometimes it's hilarious, sometimes it's painful, but letting go of the control to come into contact with what's here, developing through daily spiritual practice the energetic infrastructure to even be able to hold that much energy, because woo, it ain't a toy. And then to make it fun and sensual and beautiful, because like, why not? You know, why not?
I mean,
can you share about the Kundalini experience that you had? Whatever else you want
drop the fucking mic, bitch. Yes. I'm gonna yes and you. Yes, so much yes, forever yes. And that's really it, you know, thinking about the subtleties, right? Thinking about how much energy it takes to control, right? And especially our pain, because we're really good as a society of doing beautiful, right? Of like, we know how to work that. We know how to be in joy and happy.
But exactly.
It's convoluted. And so we're stuck in like, you know, the shopping and the things and and listen, I love that just as much as the next girl. But the thing that I keep on running up against is this, you know, sort of dynamic or relationship that people have to pain. People are always trying to eradicate their pain, right? They're always trying to get to a life where they have no pain. Look around you. Every single person on this planet has pain. So what are you going to do with it? That's the question. What are you going to do with the pain that you have been given? Because that's where artistry comes in. That's where creation comes in. Because everything that we've experienced comes through some sort of pain. You build a house, it's painful. You make a painting, it's painful. You create, you know, a book or a script, or you build a company. There is some pain, because in pain, you notice what's happening inside of you and you grow and expand. So it's like really getting to this point where, and I really think that was like the pinnacle moment yesterday. And again, deep gratitude for you and that we get to do this together, is like, that's what I really believe we're doing and we're helping. And it's not, I think that most important thing that I want to say to everyone who's listening is like, this is not about following our path, right? You're not meant to follow anyone's path. You are meant to be guided to your unique path. We are giving you tools and systems and structures that are unique to you, that you get to find your uniqueness. And that's the thing that I'm starting to see is like, you know, we're awakening, and there's this idea like, oh, okay, I want to be like that, which is going back into the old version of beauty, perfectionism. We're trying to copy each other or compete against each other. But it's like, what if we could really come face to face with our unique pain that is only ours and make the unique art that is only ours? That is the service that we're seeking. Right? Like,
yes. And then it becomes service, right? Because then it's not like, who is being served by your perfectionism? Who is being served by, because what that is inauthentic. And I think what we're both pointing to is, how do we liberate our authenticity? And like, so much of this journey for both of us, as like we egg each other on, as we teach each other, as we love each other open, as we walk this path together, which is why we created the Temple of Eros, to invite you to walk with us, because it is so much better together, and to have this container in these spaces. And we know that because we do it for each other consistently, is like, how do we liberate our authentic self? And like, what does that really mean? So much of that is your story. Whomever is listening. It's not my fucking story. It's not Rachel's story. It's your story. And part of that is your pain. And it is also your gifts, but society's really honed in on your gifts. So you probably are like comfortable with sharing the quote unquote good bits. But what we want to help you see is that until you get comfortable with your quote unquote darkness, with your pain, you can't truly serve. And then you will not truly be fulfilled. Everyone walking around feeling so fucking empty, hungry ghosts, not feeling fulfilled. Fulfillment comes when you know that you're on this planet for a reason. And I'm here to tell you, every single person alive is. And that reason is not hidden in Instagram. It's not hidden in someone else's story. You're not going to find your reason for living in someone else's story. It's in your story. And so with this program of the Temple of Eros is using art to liberate your authentic self through helping you tell your story. And the deeper game of that is that you incarnated down on this planet into your family, however beautiful, twisted, fucked up they are, bless them, right? So that you could take on some of that karmic burden. And you said, I know that I can handle that burden and I've got a gift to give that lineage, and I'm going to come down and I'm going to do some healing, and I'm going to recognize how I can take the seeds that my family have carried for me and I can water them and evolve them and then hand the seeds down if I so choose to have children, or hand the seeds down if I create art, or in whatever way I choose to serve. Our beings are here to serve, and that service comes from your story. And the way to access your story and to liberate that is through art. It's the most ancient way of spiritual purification there is. So you can get more excited about the Temple of Eros, which is this place where art meets your authentic liberation, meets the power of Eros and pleasure and creative life force energy as women coming together. It's going to be so much fun. We're doing poetry and parts work. We're doing sacred theater. We're doing erotic, like discovering your core themes through erotic writing, embodiment, free movement. We're doing vocal activations, releasing the silent melodies within you, songwriting workshops. Like, we are fucking bringing it to make this process of you digesting karma, reclaiming your story, and remembering why the fuck you're on this planet so that you can serve a planet that desperately needs your service now. Fun. Because it gets to be fun.
And I think, it's like, for those of you who are listening, like, we are sharing in real time. Angel and I are deeply devoted to this way of being. And I think the thing that we keep on realizing, because we're not the only ones on this path, our closest people around us are walking this path with us. And it's like the experiences that we're having and the way society is showing you that life gets to be is a falsity, right? And it's moving you away from your true. It's a tragedy, moving you away from your true power. And it's like, I see exactly as you said, it's like the hungry ghost. People are looking outside of themselves, and it's like, it's in you, and it's meant to be as it is, right? It's like, you hear the stories, you like, look around you, right? It's like, it's happening everywhere. You want to experience tragedy. It is everywhere you see. And now it's like, let's not try to stop it. Let's try to do something with it. Right. And that's the key.
Let's make sure it's not wasted on us.
Yes. Jesus, my goodness.
Let nothing be wasted on us. Let no pain be wasted on us, because we say, yes, fucking bring it. I'm a soul. I came to digest this. We eat shame for motherfucking breakfast. We eat it all for breakfast. It will all be spiritual fertilizer for my evolution. And in that, nothing will be wasted on me. That's what we're here to do.
And it's also, and it's not like, to remind people again and again, this is not like, you're not looking to get to an end result. That is where we mess up. That is where we stumble and fall, because we're still in the achievement. Like, I am success driven. Like, as you posted the other day, like, let success be a calm nervous system, which means you know how to surrender past your own story and trauma into the truth of your divinity and existence. It's like, let's go back to the Kundalini activation, that moment for both of us. Like, it's not like you and I have like skirted around pain in our lives. We've helped, like, the reason why we can open to that level of pleasure and bliss and ecstasy is because we know how to use painful moments as opportunities to expand deep, right? And these are the things, it's like, you can, and we see it like in the mainstream of science, and the ice baths and the saunas and the things like that. And those are incredible. And I'm huge fans of everything. But what about doing that for your psyche? And what about doing that for your soul, and for your heart, and teaching and reminding yourself that you are not to be defined by what happened to you and your stories and your traumas, that those are moments that shape you into the brilliant, unique, masterful, epic soul that you are and could only ever be you. No one else has that infrastructure. No one else has that make. Like, that's like, can we stop trying to fit in and actually just express who we truly are?
Yes. And that doesn't happen unless we tell our story, unless we express it. And that doesn't have to look like any way anyone's doing it. You don't have to write a book. Maybe you do. Maybe you tell your story through moving your body every morning. Maybe you tell your story through singing random sounds on the top of a mountain, but just using the human instrument, this vessel that you've been given to express, because otherwise it stays stuck. And like Rachel's talking about, it's like this idea of relating to any and all emotions, any and all sensations arising within us as something worthy of being connected with, restores our relationship to ourselves. Because now we're like, whoa, I'm worthy of love and connection, even when I'm in pain, even when I'm sad, even when I'm angry. There's value here, which is such a distortion that most of us have, is we're told and taught that so many of these feelings are forbidden and that they make us unworthy of love and connection. One of the deepest spiritual restorations that we can have is to recognize and remember that we are worthy of love and connection in all moments. And that it's not the feelings that needed boundaries. It was the behaviors. Most of us didn't get a parent that went, wow, big feelings. Oh my gosh, okay. I see you're really angry. It's okay for you to be angry. It's not okay for you to hit me. It's not okay for you to yell. Boundary for behavior, not for emotion. So we get confused, and then we create all these inner boundaries around the emotions, and emotions tell us what we value and need. And then we're like wandering around as these stunted human beings, totally cut off from our way to interface with ourselves in the world, because we don't know how we feel, or it's not okay to feel. Therefore, we don't know what we need and what we value. And this is why art is so beautiful. It restores right relationship to all emotions, which is a spiritual reckoning with self, to say all of me is welcome here. All emotions are welcome here. And not only that, all of this is valuable. And through that, I can actually serve the world to the highest level by showing up as a whole human being, able to interface with other beings from this full spectrum. Like we talk about wholeness, like that's what art has the capacity to do. Creativity is not just some like cute, nice to have. It's the energy that creates all life. It's the energy that animates all life. And we have to restore a sacred connection to it. We get to.
And it's like,
clearly.
Well, it's because it's exciting, because I think that both you and I, been on this path for so long, and it's like we've done some really, really deep shadow work, and in a lot of pain. And now it's almost like there's this new veil that's been lifted, where I understand from one of the deepest levels I've ever experienced in my life thus far, why I've experienced so much pain. And so it's like changed my perspective, and it's changed my relationship to it. And I think that even the act of artistry, making my book, that was such a series of moments, and I got to witness through that act from start to, even though it never finished. And I'll explain that in a second. Like, I got to see all of my stories. I got to see that in an hour, I could go from like, this is fucking bullshit. Who the fuck is going to read this? Who do I think I am? This is crazy. And then I'd swing to like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. This is the most powerful thing I've ever written. Oh my gosh, I'm going to heal someone's heart with them reading and it swings through the entire, however, 7-month process that was for me. And I'll never forget the moment when I got the final book, after I had gotten the book, maybe 12 times in its hard copy, made the edits, made all these adjustments. And I got the book, and it was like the final thing. And I expected to feel all of these feelings of like, oh my God, I did it. And I was like, cool. And right in that moment, my soul was like, it's the process that you want. It's not about this. And that's what we want, right? And it's like when you make a song or you write a script, it's like, I remember when I first started to write the book, all the voices and the people that I reached, everyone's like, you need an agent and you have to have this much written. And I said, I don't give a fuck. I'm writing this for me because I need to, because I want to. If one person reads this and feels not alone or feels seen or received, then that's enough for me. right? And then going through the act of
Yes.
it and recognizing that that's it, that's the recipe for a life. Can we be in something long enough, which is really the basis of an importance of spiritual practice, is to sit with yourself, as you said, because you are worthy of your own presence on a day-to-day basis, no matter what it is that you are feeling. Can you show up, the same way that we're sort of, again, we're seeing in society, people talking about partnership and wanting someone to show up and love them exactly as they are. When are you going to fucking show up and love yourself exactly as you are? This is the practice, right? Like, can we hold ourselves the way that we're seeking and yearning someone else to hold us? Can we like remind ourselves of the infinite love that dwells within us already without needing someone else outside of us to validate that first?
Yes, hallelujah. And when I get to experience you and your art, not only am I seeing that you have reverence and gratitude for all that you've experienced, your pleasure, your pain, everything in between, I begin to have gratitude. Thank God, all that you've survived. Like, thank you. Wow. Because I get to receive the medicine of all that you've survived and experienced. And I'm receiving that medicine because you're willing to create from that space. And you're only willing to create from that space because you're willing to connect with your story and what you're here to bring. And this is what we're bringing with the Temple of Eros, is not more ideologies. It's a methodology. We're calling it holy artistry to initiate you into a lifetime of artistry, to discover. We're going to play with all different modalities so that you can experience, Rach has been acting for, I don't know what, like 20 years. I've been singing my whole life. Like, we're both writers, we're both poets, and there'll be many art forms that we don't touch on. Some of you might be painters, or all sorts. We both love embodiment. We're going to give you like an a la carte of all these different artistic modalities, but supporting you to use them to heal. Like I said, using poetry to discover parts that are blocking you, using embodiment to reclaim your erotic self, like art with intention to process and digest your karmic material, to find your authentic voice and to tell your story so that you can get the juice out of it, and to initiate you into this path of sensual mysticism and holy artistry, which is you are each an artist. You each have a story to tell, and art is the connector, this thing that creates a connection point between you, your pain, your pleasure, your story in the truest sense, not just the mental story, but like what you have lived as a being, even beyond this lifetime, what your mother lived, your grandmother, your great grandmother, the stories that live in you that are asking to be told, as Rach has said, for service, right? Not for stagnation and stewing. That's a different kind of story. And that's the purpose of this container. And when we said that we were going, the day that we opened the doors to this container, we were in Ibiza and we had a Kundalini workshop, and this woman came, and we'd done pyramid breathwork, which is Rachel's husband, one of my best friends, Johan Erb's breathwork method, which is an amazing method. If you haven't seen it, look it up. And we did that together. And then we had this Kundalini workshop, and this is literally the day that we're opening the doors to this temple. Like, you cannot write the shit. The level of synchronicities that we've happened, and the power of, like, we're already in ceremony. We said yes to this, to bringing this forward, and now we're having to deal with that in a beautiful way. But we're being stretched. This is our edge as well. Like, we're like, oh wow, okay, this is big energy. We're being asked to stretch our container. So the day that we opened the doors, we knew this was about to be some big ass shit, because the dragon of Kundalini that awoke in each of us, asking us to ride it. Say more about that.
No,
Try to put that in words. I'm doing my best.
I think you're so right. I mean, it's like, because again, going back to, this is happening in real time, right? It's like, this is our leading edge. This is our artistry as service, and we can feel the match of energy that we're receiving from putting this out into the world, right? This is a labor of love. And now both, I mean, I'm sure that you guys can hear it in us, how lit we are, how excited we are, because it's coming from direct relationship with this thing that we are birthing through this, and our passion towards it, and our depth of devotion towards this sort of path. And I think that comes, it's a direct indication of what happened in that moment, because the Kundalini, like, it puts you through, the activation puts you through every single emotion that you have. And you and I both, through separate experiences, have been having these, Shakti tremors, you could call them, for some months now, some time now. And this was like perhaps maybe a culmination of that, where we went through the full range of emotions. There was, there was pain, there was shame, there was, beauty and ecstasy and bliss, and all of it really swimming as one. And I think that the thing that both you and I got to experience and feel is the leading edge that we're on, which is the capability to experience, the universe being birthed open moment to moment, which is allowance, right? Which is what we're going back to from the very beginning. Yeah. We can't experience that level of pleasure, and remembering that pleasure is just allowance. We're not just talking about genital pleasure. We're talking about the pleasure of crying while watching a sunrise, or eating an incredible meal, or watching a kid, welcome his father home from the army. Like, that's pleasure. When you see the tears and raw emotion, it's just allowing, right? And we can't get that when we're feeling moved. You can't get that when you're constricted. You have to be fully engaged with the moment as it changes, right? And the thing that we sort of get stuck in humanity is we want to hold on. We want to hold on to the bliss, or we want to hold on to the pain, right? Because it makes us feel safe. And we can't hold on. That's the whole point of this, is it's a roller coaster ride, and it is learning how to be in the free fall and throw your hands up and make love to the moment's chaos. And when you have the willingness to do that, you get to experience these monumental moments of meeting, I would say, the divine. You're like, both you and I were, weeping in gratitude of existence. And I want to just say this for those of you who are like, oh, you guys have the whatever life. There was also deep pain happening at this exact moment, right? For both of us, right? So it's not about, we're not dealing with anything, everything is perfect. We are using these tools and these systems and these structures and these practices, and we're using our devotion to have the greater awareness, like, that this is shaping me versus this is breaking me.
Oh, this is shaping me versus this is breaking me. And you know what is so beautiful, my love, is because of that, this is shaping me, not breaking me. When we're in those experiences, and what I love about being in ritual with other women is the opening in other women creates an opening in you, and then the opening in you creates an opening in them, and then we're spiraling upwards. And even when I'm hearing Rachel fucking break open and I'm hearing her guttural grief, like, I am laying there and I'm so happy for her. I'm like, get it, baby. Yes. Because I'm not like, oh no, she's feeling grief. I'm like, And then I'm maybe in that moment, not in the same place. I might be fucking cackling my face off, like at the cosmic joke of life. And then all of a sudden the roller coaster ride. And this was the thing about this activation, that is the exact medicine that Rachel and I practice and serve, which is opening fully into the moment, exactly as she's talking about, and seeing what the fuck's going to come up, and can I make beauty and art out of it and serve from this place. That is holy artistry. That is embodiment. That is meeting the moment. That is the tantra of life. Like, that is tantra, to see whatever arises and use any and all external energies and internal energies as fodder for spiritual growth. And so this container was just a way for her and I to receive that medicine, which was so beautiful when both of us are often in teaching. And that's also why we like to teach together, because then we get to receive as well. And feeling ourselves just open fully into the moment. And we were joking because we'd like warmed up with our breathwork practice, and we're like Olympic athletes. Like, this is our sport. We came fucking ready to roll. We were like, bring it. Yes, I'm here. And it was hilarious because we were like, bah, bah, immediately, bah, full openings, full shaking, full. And it's like, in a way it's thrilling, but there was parts of me that was like, oh my God, I'm meeting my edge with this amount of energy. Like, is this okay? Can I hold this much? And then just from the practice, learning to let go into that. And seeing that everything ends and changes. I hit pockets of despair and grief that became ecstasy because I allowed them. And then my body's convulsing, and then I'm cackling, and then I'm hearing Rachel orgasm, and then I'm orgasming, and then I'm crying, and then I'm hearing her crying. And then it's just like pop, 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 spiraling up. And that upward spiral is not because we're only allowing joy and we're only allowing good feeling and we're controlling everything. That isn't actually going to get us what we've been sold it will get us. Like, I said this on a live the other day, we are not bodies to be entered or outcomes to be achieved. We are a state of consciousness to be experienced. This reality is a state of consciousness and existence to a moment
Yes.
to be experienced. And doesn't art and artistry like bring us into presence?
Mm-hmm.
When you read Rachel's poetry
Mm-hmm.
book, when you hear a song, when you like whatever like form of artistry,
Yes.
again, whether it's the art of parenting, when you see someone like loving their kids so fully, like you come into presence with the moment. You're like, wow, this life is beautiful and meaningful. And even though it's hard and painful and fucked up and tragic, and that's not going to change because that's part of this reality and this earth school, it's still worth living. And that recognition that I had in a few years ago in meditation with you, Rachel, my God, we've been doing this a while, was I'm deeply flawed.
Me too.
And I always will be.
Yeah.
And I am still worthy of love and belonging. We are all deeply flawed. And guess what? You always will be. And you are still worthy of love and belonging. This reality is deeply fucking flawed and always will be. And it is still worth living and loving and making art out of.
Yeah. And I think that it's, and I think it's so exciting. And I think you hit the nail on the head. And to like, as we wrap ourselves up before we like literally take flight into the ethers, is like, let's really understand that artistry is multifaceted, my loves. And again, like, do you have the willingness to give yourself the time and space and gift of discovering your different artistry expressions? Because you don't have just one, right? And so it's like, you know, I sent a video to Angel yesterday that all I did yesterday was just like sob and cry out of ecstasy of these moments, right? Of realizing that everyone is doing this all around us, right? Everyone is finding that thing that makes them come alive through their own pain, right? And so instead of the part of us that thinks we need to do it in the way that's been shown, that's actually not it. It's having the willingness to go into your own inner void, your own inner abyss where infinite possibilities dwell. That's what the void is. And discover what that unique make is for you. Because that's, I believe, the journey that we're all actually seeking. Everyone's talking about purpose and finding what the thing is, and that becomes a consequence when you start to walk this path, right? When you start to realize that everything is here for you. And if you choose to meet that over and over again and choose to meet the version of you that's meeting that, because that's the real moment, right? It's like, and then I want to just highlight, because I said this in my retreat. I also just came out of my retreat, so the energy is high. And, you know, getting excited for our retreat at the end of October, at the end of Temple of Eros. And I told the girls, as we're talking about communication and co-devotion, and I'm like, I remember this moment last year of having a full blown trauma panic attack where I was imploding and exploding at the same time. And it was terrifying and like, mind blowing. I don't even know how to describe it. And at the same time, because of the depth of my practice of being devoted to myself, no matter what it is that is arising inside of me, I could still zoom out and be the witness. And I feel emotional just saying this, and celebrate myself for letting myself go there and have this type of breakthrough, right? Because, and that's the practice. That's the path, is like, not thinking that I failed, because that's what people run into, or that we're thinking that this life experience is linear, and it is not, right? Oh, if I get triggered, then I've taken 2 steps backward. That's not how this life works, my love. It is not sequential. It's happening everywhere, everything all at once. And we just keep in our forefront one thing, which is to, how can you show up in love and connection for yourself in each moment?
Yes. Yeah, I'm so grateful for all those moments that you have. I'm grateful for the moment that I have. Like, I'm grateful for anyone who's willing to feel that deeply. Like, because it takes a whole lot of courage, and we don't have to do it alone. And this path gets to be fun and messy, and our life, like as you were saying, my love, is so beautiful. Like we're all seeking purpose as if it's like some external point that we're going to get to, or something that we're going to discover. It's like the process itself of being a soul here on earth. That's it. Like it's happening right now. Your purpose of actualizing and becoming is happening whether you're awake to it or not. And just being awake to it is the thing that creates a deeper level of fulfillment. And like you can't fuck it up, because in any moment is another opportunity to wake up and remember, and wake up and remember, and wake up and remember. And it's like there's such a beauty to just engaging in the process. And the Temple of Eros is our prayer, is our shared intention, is our offering on the altar of this existence, our call out into the ethers to say, life is beautiful. There is magic here, and there's pain, and it's all worthy of feeling, and you're worthy of being here. No matter what you've been through, you have a story to tell, and there's value in that. And we're here to help you find that story that is truth and authentic, so that you can come into contact with your authenticity, who you really are, who you were before the world taught you who to be. And we do that with tried and tested methodologies to lead you through ritual and experience. Like we have a combined 25 years of experience. We know how to do this. We live this, we breathe this. We're not just doing this when the camera is recording. Like we just hit record before this. We didn't know what we were going to say. Like, as you can tell, we're like full of energy. We're like, let's just see
just a little bit excited.
Just a tad. I'm going to have to go put my feet on the earth for a while after this. But and this is our leading edge. I'm learning how to hold this much energy. We said we want to hold this, we want to offer this, we want to feel this. And the universe shows up and says, you want this? Hold this. And we're like, beauty, expansion. So we get to lean into using our artistry and using our spiritual practice that we're going to teach you to expand your energetic infrastructure to hold more of your essence and this shared essence that we have. And so there'll be 3 calls a month. You'll get to share between both Rachel and I. One of those calls is going to be around embodiment, pleasure practice, and Eros with ritual and ceremony to get you into contact with that. It'll be direct experience. This is not just learning through talking. So obviously here you're receiving a transmission that is talking, but this will be, you'll be in the ceremony in active participation. So you're having a direct experience. The second call will be holy artistry. So you'll be doing some kind of a creative workshop, again, to have a direct experience of creativity. So Eros and creation, to activate and awaken your authentic self, to bring you closer to the God that you are as spiritual practice, as coming into contact with being a tantrika. And the third call is a discourse, which is a teaching, a transmission, and then an opportunity to be coached. So that's the structure for those of you wanting a little bit of that. It's good, helps us hold the energy. Anything I'm missing?
And we have the juice, like the structure is set. So we're going to be together. We're going to be holding, like Angel said, the infrastructure, this quantum container together. And then there's the juice of weekly, you have, sunrise and moonlit sensual meditation activation. We're going to have embodiment practices. We're going to have inspiration. There's going to be juice every step of the way. And this is, these are invitations to be in this practice all the time, so that you can, these moments that we're giving you will, for those of you who are maybe not necessarily aligned with the exact life you want to, these are the moments that help you reconnect to that over and over and over again. So you have something on a weekly basis, on a daily basis, to tether you back to who it is that you are becoming, right? And who you are existing as. So it's juicy, it's fun, it's playful, it's supportive, and it's going to be wild.
It's not just a program, it's a path.
It's exactly.
It's a path. This is a life path. Like there are many paths, right? This is just the path that we walk of spirituality, as using everything externally and internally as fodder for your spiritual growth, and doing that through a connection to Eros and creativity. This is a path. So we're initiating you into a path versus just doing a program. So it starts July 2nd. We're also hosting, as Rachel mentioned, a retreat at the end of October for just the participants in the Temple of Eros. You will have, it's going to be in Formentera, which we were just there together. Rachel lives in Ibiza. Like, holy fuck, the energy in that place. Like, whoa.
Chef's kiss.
Chef's kiss. Damn. Throws flames. And July 2nd, 4 months. There's payment plans. There's options to also add and have private coaching with Rachel and I, which is really special. Like, it's kind of cool that someone would get to be in both of our private container at the same time.
Yes.
That's never been offered before. You'd get like 1 month on with me, 1 month on with Rachel. So yeah, there's lots of ways to engage. It's very accessible. If you just want to do the program and you want to do the payment plan. So go and check it out. You can find it at iamrachelpringle.com/temple of Eros, which I'll put the link in the show notes as well. And if you have any questions, you can come to our Instagrams at Positive Pringle, at Angelika Alana, ask us questions. If you're not following Rachel already, what are you doing with your life? No, I'm kidding.
I'm like, part of me wants to like, I want to like shoot out of existence and come back as like a different person so that I can take this course.
We're really doing the course so that we can do the course.
I know.
This is for us.
I know.
Join us.
Want to come have fun with us, guys? Let's go.
Yeah. Come play. We're ready. Oh my God. I'm just going to go have a cold shower and then lay in the grass for a while because I'm expanding my container to hold this much energy. Woo, baby.
Amen, honey. Amen. Amen. Hope you guys enjoyed this as much as we did.
Any last words, Ray?
You know, I think that it's always the same thing. Always, always, always remember that there will never be another you. You are it. It's you and you forever. The greatest journey you will ever go on is the one with yourself. The life that you have right now is the life that you have right now. So live it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Rachel fucking Pringle. See you in the Temple of Eros. That's it for today, Awakened One. And just a quick thank you from me. Thank you for gifting us with your most precious resource, your time and attention, so that we can make this world a more awakened place. And if we're not friends on Instagram yet, then we absolutely should be. So come on over and say hello at Angelika Alana, and I'll see you there and see you next week.